Hey there, everybody. Tony Porter, Cards and Dice TV, and we are playing 4th Street Baseball. This is a game I started, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and I'm in the 10th inning. It's between the Mets and the Miami Marlins, April 1st, 2019. Stephen Matz started against Caleb Smith, and I actually had to redo the beginning of this game, the first 3 innings, because for some reason I was reading on the pitcher's card. You see the throwing arm is on the right side, and I was looking at the left side, and Caleb Smith was a bats lefty, and I was looking at it carefully. So actually, it's in reverse. I was looking at the right. He bats righty, and he pitches lefty. And I was looking at the right side. I was looking at him as a righty thrower, but he was really a left thrower, and that's with Caleb Smith. So then I replayed the first 3 innings, and this game has gotten all the way to the top of the 10th. It's going to be J.D. Davis, Michael Conforto, and Wilson Ramos. 4th Street Baseball, pretty cool game. If I would say anything about it, again, because of my eyesight, I'd say the numbers are a little bit small for all the numbers that they have. I wish that they would use a little bit more of the space on the side. Like half an inch on the side, and there's a lot of space down at the bottom to maybe make the numbers just a little bit larger, but that's a personal issue, I guess. So JD Davis, we're going to check. The first thing you check in this game is really the match column. JD Davis is a righty batter, so we're going to check the right side of the match column, which is right here, and we're going to throw 5 dice, 2d6, 2d10, and 1d20. And you can see there that we have an 11. So against a righty batter, we're going to look at an 11, and that falls within a 10 and a 19. So it's going to be a ball hit to second base. Could be pop-up. It could be a lot of different things. We'll see what that's going to be. A ball hit to second base. So it's a ball hit to the infield against a right-handed pitcher. So that's, you look at the infield column, and right under that, you see there's a 17. We're going to look at 17, and then we're going to look at the second baseman for the Marlins, who's Starlin Castro, and his defensive number is a 5. So a 17 minus 5 is a 12. So if our D20 is below that, then it's going to be off the hitter's card, off of J.D. Davis. If it is above that, 12, then it's going to be off of the second baseman. It's a 16, so we're going to read it off the second baseman. And what are we going to read? We're going to read we add the 2d6s, so that's going to be a 4. And we're going to read it off of Castro's card, and a 4 is going to be a 64, which I believe is a hard ground ball to Castro. He feels it and throws out J.D. Davis for out number 1 here in the 10th inning. 3-3 game. Michael Conforto, a lefty, is coming up. All right, so this is going to change to the match. We're going to look at the left side of the page. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Let's see what the matchup tells us happens with the ball. Where does it go? Is it between the pitcher and the batter? Is it a ball to the outfield? Is it a ball to the infield? Is it a power ball where he just gets into one and drives it deep? And then we use the ballpark page, which is really, really cool. And it's one of my favorite aspects of this game. All right, so Michael Conforto's up, and it's going to be a 0-4. This may take us into the power zone, and unfortunately, it will not, because his power zone is 1 and 2, and we rolled a 0-4, so that would put us into the pitcher defensive range. So it's a ball hit to the pitcher in some way, and the pitcher is a 5 against a righty. Conforto against the infield is a 16, so that's going to be 11. We've got an 18, so that's going to be off the pitcher's defensive column. So a really good defensive pitcher will take care of it. A weak defensive pitcher may, let it get by them or even commit an error. We're going to look at a 7, and a 7 is going to be a 9, so that's a potential error. So we're going to roll the D20, and we're going to add it to his fielding, which is basically a 5, right? He's a 5, so anything less than a 15 is going to be an error, and this will be an error. Actually, him as a position player, I haven't done this with a pitcher yet. Let's see, defensive rating for the pitch for the Yeah, that's correct. It's right. It would be right there. Just like Conforto's defensive rating would be a 5 in right field, a 4 in center field, and so on and so forth. But we roll the 15, which is right on. It would be 1 to 15 will be an error, and it explains it somewhere, but I'm not going to read it right now, but it explains it somewhere. So that will be an error, a one base error on the pitcher, Kinley. So Conforto reaches, and let's use this darker. There we go. All right, so Conforto's on at first on an error by the pitcher Kinley, and here comes Wilson Ramos. I have a little time. That's why I'm only playing a couple innings here, because the Mets are right about to start, and then I got a league game at 8:30. So I want to squeeze in a quick kind of playthrough / tutorial on 4th Street Baseball. Wilson Ramos now. So again, we're going to look at that matchup, but we're going to the right side because Ramos is a righty batter. And it's, what do we roll? We roll the 43, and that's going to be hit to the outfield. That's going to be hit to center field. Between 42 and 47 goes to the center fielder. The center fielder for the Marlins is Riddle. We brought him in to play center field. And let me double check that he's in center because I didn't write it down. I have to look at that real quickly. Let's see if Riddle can play center field. If he can, he's in center. Otherwise, we probably made a switch with and Riddle does play center field, and he's a 3. So Wilson to the outfield is going to be, against a righty pitcher, is going to be a 14. So that's 14 minus 3 is an 11. We rolled a 1, so it is going to be off Wilson Ramos. We're going to add the 2 and the 6. That's an 8, and that is going to be a 70. Plus you add the center fielder, which is fielding position, which is an 8. Like a left fielder's a 7, center fielder's an 8, and a right fielder's a 9. So it's a 78, and that's going to be a fly. What kind of a fly ball? It's going to be a deep fly ball to center field. Backing up is JT Riddle, and he makes the catch. Again, I want to use a different pen because pencil is hard to see. All right, so here comes another lefty, and it's going to be Jeff McNeil with a runner on first base. Conforto reached on an error, 2 outs. So we're going to check the matchup, but against a lefty this time because McNeil is a lefty. And we'll be looking versus a right-handed pitcher on that side. So that's going to be an 88. This is going to be a pitcher matchup. It's going to be a pitcher matchup versus a left-handed batter. We have to find out, is it a breaking ball or a fastball? +1 says that 2 to 6 and an 11 is going to be a fastball, and we have a 5. So that's going to be a fastball. So we're looking at an 8 versus a right-handed pitcher is a 17. So that makes it a 9. And we rolled a 5, so it's going to be off Conforto. So Conforto wins the matchup so far. It's going to be off his card, and now we're going to look at that result 5 off his card, and that's going to be a 44, which is a base on balls. So Conforto, McNeil walks Conforto over to second. And now we go right in here. And it's going to be Juan Lagares against Tyler Kinley. And Lagares today, he's 0 for 4. He's flied out a couple of times, grounded out, and struck out. Juan Lagares no longer with the Mets. And there's the go-ahead run is at second base. Conforto, 2 outs. McNeil is on at first, and let's roll. I'm going to check the matchup first, see where the ball goes. And it's going to be a 61. A 61 is going to be a pitcher matchup. This time it's versus a right-handed batter. It's a +2. So that's a 2 to 7 and a 12. And we rolled a 9. So that's going to be a breaking ball versus a righty. So it's a 7 versus a pitcher 14 versus a right-handed pitcher. So 14 minus 7 is a 7. And we've got a D20 of a 3. So it's going to be off of Lagares. And a 9 off of Lagares is a 79, which is a deep fly ball. He drives one to left field. Back goes the left fielder, Rosel Herrera, and He squeezes it for the out, and that retires the side. We go to the bottom of the 10th. Miami Marlins here in Miami. Derek Jeter is the owner of the Marlins. He cleaned house and sent all the superstars, the pricey superstars, away all over the league, and has a crew of pretty much unknowns. They did pretty well in 2020, but that was a shortened season, not a real season. Definitely not a real season. RJL is in the house. Yeah, I got a little time in between the games, man. So I wanted to finish this game, which is in the 10th inning. This is 4th Street baseball. Yeah, the jury's still out, RJL. Jury's still out, playing it. Pretty much gonna, really, it's, hey, there's a lot of work that goes into all these numbers, man. You know what I'm saying? So who am I to be like, not only that, I'm playing the basic version. Yeah, I'm playing the basic version. It's gonna be Starlin Castro versus Jerry Familia win an inning. And Jerry Familia played in 66 games and won 60 innings in 2019. So I'm not going to let him go any more than an inning. So I'm going to bring in Justin Wilson, who today is on the Yankees, but back then, actually, you know what? I'm going to bring on Avilan, Luis Avilan, because I saw him. He's on top. So that basically was easier for me to track. I got to be careful with the pitching here because, I don't have Tim Peterson. He only played in about 10 games, so I don't have him in the card deck. And he was a guy that was the long guy out of the bullpen, so I don't have that. I already used Gazelman. Lugo went a couple of innings. Then Familia went an inning. Now I got Avilan. I still have Diaz. I still have Diaz. I should use Diaz here. Let me use Diaz here. Because what am I saving him for, right? He's not going to get. Actually, I could get a save, right? He could get a save. If I scored, he could come in. So let me use, like I said, let me use Avilan and save Diaz. Although his numbers in 2019 were horrific. So now, here's Avilan. So we're gonna basically look at this side of, and you have to be very aware and very alert to that fact. So on Starlin Castro, we're looking at the left side because we got a lefty pitcher, and I like to circle. Right, these are PDFs, so I can do that with PDFs. That's why I like them. I could kind of make little notations for myself. So we're going to look at the matchup, and that's going to be versus a righty. Starlin Castro's up. Then it's going to be a pinch hitter for the pitcher spot, and then we're going to get Martin Prado. So here's a pitch. You throw 5 dice. And we're going to look at the 25 versus a righty. The 25, between 21 and 25, it's going to be to the third baseman. Third baseman for the Mets is J.D. Davis. Not a great third baseman. So he's a 4 at third base. So we're going to look at Starlin Castro versus infield against a left-hander. It's an 18 minus 4 is a 14. We're left with a 14, and then we're going to look at the D20. D20 is a lot higher than that. So that means it's going to be off of the third baseman. And we're going to add the 2 D6. It's a 4 off of the third baseman. And here are the numbers for the third baseman so you can see how easy that is to J.D. Davis. A 4 would be, a potential error. So he's going to be a 14 or less is going to be an error. And we're going to roll the D20, and that's a 9, so it's going to be an E5. So J.D. Davis bobbles one and doesn't get the throw off, and that puts the lead runner on base. At first base is Starlin Castro. All right, and that's Avilan. Let's all right. So now the reason I actually left a kind of a notation for me by leaving the white card there like that, I turned over a card to tell me that I need a pinch hitter there, so I don't screw up the game. So yeah, the Mets are in between. They won the first game. Jacob deGrom struck out 9 in a row. He was 1 strikeout away from tying Tom Seaver's 10 consecutive strikeouts, a record that's held for 51 years. DeGrom was 1 strikeout away, and he had 2 strikes on the guy, and the guy hit the ball right up the middle. It went off DeGrom. It went to McNeil. McNeil kind of bobbled it, and the guy was safe at first, and chaos ensued. They scored 3 runs, but the Mets came back in the top of the 7th, and with a couple of runs, they took a 4-3 lead, and then Diaz came in, and he made the difference. He held the game, held the Rockies for the save. All right, so it's going to be Neil Walker. That's all I got. I don't have anybody else that I can see in there. I may have a catcher, but I don't want to use my catcher, so I'm going to bring in a lefty versus lefty in this situation. It is what it is. So Neil Walker, he is an ex-Met, by the way. And he will be pinch hitting here against the lefty. So it's lefty on lefty. Let's see what happens. He is a beast, my friend. He is a beast. DeGrom is a beast. So it's going to be an 81 versus a lefty, and that's going to be a pitcher. This is interesting, right? So this is going to be versus a lefty matchup because he's a lefty versus. So we were looking at using the lefty side for both, and the matchup is between the pitcher and the batter on the left side. So we're going to look at the pitcher column on the batter, and we're going to look at the left-handed batter column on the pitcher. We're going to see if it's a fastball or a breaking ball, right? And he's a -2, and the way you figure that out is the fastball is a 7 and the breaking ball is a 9. That means it's -2. If the fastball was a 9 and the breaking ball was a 7, it would be a +2. If they were the same, it'd be a 0. And then there's a little chart that you look at. So 2 to 5, 10, and 12. 2 to 5, 10, and 12, and we have a 17. So that means it's a breaking ball. Breaking ball is a 9. All right, and the pitcher rating against a pitcher rating is a 20. So 20 minus 9 is an 11, and we rolled a 17. So it's basically going to be a ball that is off the pitcher. And let's do that. It's right, because if it's within the 17, it's going to be off the batter, and otherwise it's off the pitcher, I believe. That's how you do it. I just went a little. My brain just went scattered a little bit. But anyway, all right. So then we're going to look at the 6. Let's look at the rule on that. Let's look at the rule on that real quick. Let me pull up the rules. And I have them in my system because my brain just went blank. I usually play it pretty fast, and I downloaded the rules, so we got a sample game. You can actually try a free game and get the rules and try them for free. So instructions, basic rules. Oh no, that's basic results chart. All right, let's go back. And I'll read it to you so you can see what basic instructions. All right. So let's see now. The first matchup is going to be find the outfield grade. Okay, against left-handed pitcher, find the center field's grade. We didn't show. The grade is a 6. If you look at the batter, subtract 2 grades. If the 20-sided die is less than or equal to the value, the batter wins. So in this case, it was above the value. So then the pitcher won. And we're going to read the result off the pitcher. It's a 6. A breaking ball versus a lefty is going to be a strikeout. So Avilan strikes out Walker, and we go to Martin Prado. So yeah, so basically the batter wins if it's less than or equal to, and if it's over, then the fielder or the pitcher wins. All right, so here goes Martin Prado. Let's look at the matchup versus a righty. we got an 0-4. We got an 0-4 versus a righty. And that's going to be a power number. So these are really easy to play. The power numbers are super easy to play. And this has to do with power. We're going to go right to the power column versus a left-handed pitcher on Martin Prado. Martin Prado's well, if we were looking at the ballpark card, which we're not because it's not a ballpark result, that's all the way at 90, from like 93 to 99 versus a righty and 96 to 99 versus a lefty. We rolled a power number that's just strictly off the batter's power numbers, right? And we're going to look and see. We're going to add the two D6, and it's an 11. It's going to be an 11, and it's a 59, which is a medium fly ball to right field for out number 2. Yeah, Martin Prado didn't hit. He only hit 2 home runs and 245 at bats. Not a lot of power. He's going to hit a lot of fly balls that are going to get caught. All right, here's Jorge Alfaro. He's 0 for 3 today with a walk. So again, we're going to check the matchup. Where's the ball going to go? Really, the matchup is telling you where the ball goes. Maybe it goes nowhere, and maybe it goes to the pitcher on the infield, or maybe it's a kind of matchup between the pitcher and the batter. It could be a strike or a walk, that type of thing. So it's real interesting. The system's real good. So we rolled an 88. That's going to be a pitcher matchup. Again, I already have that memorized. From 52 to 92, it's going to be a pitcher matchup. So versus a right-handed pitcher, is it a fastball or a breaking ball? We rolled a 5. I can tell you just from memory that that's probably going to be a fastball, and it is. So a fastball is a 4 versus a lefty pitcher. It's a 19. So 19 minus 4 is a 15. The batter is going to win this. All right, so we're going to read it. We're going to read the result off the batter. The result is a 5. The 1 plus 4 is a 5, and that's a strikeout. So sometimes the batter strikes out, or sometimes the pitcher will strike him out. It depends, if it's a good batter and who doesn't strike out a lot, he won't strike out very much. So game is really cool, and it's got a lot of nuance. I would love to get to the ballpark. Look at the ballpark. Every ballpark is different. Take a look at that. This is one of the cooler aspects of this game. And let's say you're playing in a different ballpark. Well, it looks totally different, right? Let's see. Let's look at see, this one's different. For example, this one has 418 in the middle and has a kind of a double wall. That's the height of the wall, by the way. If it hits off the wall, you can stretch a double into a triple. So you can actually land and hit off the wall. Now, outfielders and infielders can get to the ball, and I could reposition. The game comes with little tokens. So if there's a pull lefty up, well, I could put the center fielder here and put the right fielder in this corner like that. And then if the ball lands with the numbers, and it's real easy to do, it looks maybe a little bit complicated at first, but it's super easy. If it lands here or here or there, he would have a potential of catching it. The outfielder or the infielder even. The ball could be hit there, or there. Not if it's hit diagonally, then no, he doesn't have a chance. But if it's hit horizontally or vertically, then he could potentially catch the ball. So that's one very cool aspect. Now, all the defensive information is given you on a card. I didn't cut them out. I just held them on a page because it's not a lot of pages. It's like 3 pages. So it's easy for me. Once you remember what location it's in, it's pretty quick. All right, so we went through, let me see where we're at here. We got through the inning, and we're going to the top of the 10th, no runs, no hits, and bottom of the 10th, no runs, no hits. We're in the 11th inning, top of the 11th inning. It's going to be the Mets coming up. And we're going to get a new pitcher because we did have a pinch hitter. So it's going to be Dom Smith, and we're going to bring in Tyrone Guerrero. And let's write him in. Kinley went 1 inning. And let's see what Guerrero can do versus Dom Smith. Oh, actually, Dom Smith pinch hit earlier. He's not there anymore. So the pitcher's up. And, yep, So we're going to bring in a pinch hitter for the Mets. And who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Next inning, we're going to bring in Edwin Diaz. All right. Brandon Nimmo didn't play in this game, so he's going to come in. And he's going to face. So Nimmo's coming in to pinch hit here in the top of the 11th inning. And here goes. So he's going to check the matchup versus a lefty. We're circling his righty. He throws from the right side. We're looking at this section here because he's facing a lefty. And that's a 39, and that is going to be a fly ball to left field. The left fielder is Herrera, and Herrera's a 3 from memory. And versus a right-handed pitcher to the outfield is a 14, so that's an 11, but it's a 5. So we're going to read it off Nimmo. And it's a 7 off Nimmo, and a 7 is going to be a 20 plus the left fielder 7. That's 27. That's going to be a drive in the gap. And the left fielder is going to play the carom, hustling around first into second base. Ahead of the throw with a leadoff double is going to be Brandon Nimmo. So the Mets, a double for Nimmo, and it works out perfect because I put an 11 there, and it looks like a double. That's the way I write my doubles. You can't see that. It's out of the – I'll show you. I wrote 11 because it was the 11th inning, and I circled it. And then he happens to hit a double, and that's how I do my doubles, like an 11. So it worked perfect. So he's on a second base, nobody out. And here is Ahmed Rosario. He's no longer a Met. All right. So let's see what happens. We're going to check the righty matchup now because he's a righty, and it's going to, again, be on the right side because he's a right-handed pitcher as well. Here's a pitch, and it's going to be a 13. 13 matchup is going to be between 10 and 19. It's going to be hit to second base. So second baseman is going to be involved, and that's Castro. And Castro, where's the chart? Castro is, I believe, a 5. And Ahmed Rosario hitting to the infield is a 16. So that's 16 minus 5 is an 11. We rolled a 2, so it's going to be off Rosario. He's got a lot of hits there. He did bat almost 290. And it's a 3, and that's going to be a base hit. And that was the second baseman's a 4. That's a 14. And he actually can score here. He can try to score. And that'll be against the center fielder because that ball was hit to second base. So anything hit to second base or shortstop, the center fielder will take. And the center fielder is JT Riddle. Let's check his arm rating in center field to see if the throw to the plate, if it's worth. Riddle was with an arm rating of a 0. So he's a 0. Let's look at Nimmo's speed, because that will help us decide. We're probably going to hold him up because there's nobody out. If there was one out, I'd probably try to score him. His speed is 15. So that's 75% chance of being safe. So I'm going to, with nobody out, I'm going to hold him up. I know you guys are probably saying, oh, come on, man. Have some guts. But no, it's a single for Rosario. We're going to give the red light to Nimmo at third base, and that puts runners on first and third here in the top of the 11th. Playing 4th Street baseball, Pete Alonso, again versus a righty pitcher. So we're going to look at the righty matchup, see where the ball goes. That's basically how I interpret this. So the infield is going to be playing in, which, you know what? I haven't even read up the rules on that situation yet. Let me see if I have that in my basic rules. Infield in, it should be here somewhere. See what it says. Hit and run, injuries, pitcher fatigue, additional strategies, checklist. Oh, the basic rules don't seem to have an infield in. But what I do basically is with nobody on, I hold on an infield grounder, so that solves the issue of having to kind of have a rule. So automatically, one of my home rules, my house rules, is when there is nobody out and there's a runner at third, I hold the runner on a grounder. That's kind of how I do it. All right. Therefore, that's it resolves a lot of the issues on this hit and run rules and making an objective decision when you're playing both teams. And obviously, I'm not objective here, right? But I try to be. So that's one of my rules. So if it's a grounder, he's going to hold. So that's my official rule. So let's see what happens. See if we get a fly ball and second base fly. All right, it's going to be a 0-3. Pete Alonso's up against Tyrone Guerrero. And in the matchup between a righty, a 0-3, just missed the power number, man. Oh, my goodness, because that would have probably been a home run on Alonso's power numbers. Look at that. It's all home runs straight, the whole column. Look at that. And if this +5 is also if he hits a fly ball in the ballpark card, he would get five numbers ahead. In other words, he hits a 14 +5 would be a 19. That would be a home run. So he's got tremendous power. So anyway, it's going to be an 0-3 versus a righty versus. Of course, I was looking at the left-handed pitcher. It would be versus the right-handed pitcher. He has the same numbers. Right, but we're not looking at that right now. The 0-3 tells us that it's going to be a ball hit to the pitcher. So ball hit to the infield on Alonso versus a righty is a 16. The pitch defense is a 3, so 16 minus 3 is a 13, but we roll the 15. Okay, so that's going to be off of Guerrero's card. Off of Guerrero's card, and we're going to have a 7, and the 7 is going to be a potential error. And he's a 3, so +10, that's 13. Anything 13 or less is going to be an error, and it's an 8, so it is an error. So it's an error on the pitcher, and it's an infield, a ball hit to the infield. And we're going to say that everybody holds. Moving to second is Rosario. Bases are loaded. I did say that he's holding on a ground ball to the infield. It was a ground ball to the infield. And I'm just going to play it that way. So here's Robbie Cano with the bases loaded. Again, one of my favorite players. I take a lot of crap for that. I think he was an excellent player, steroid or no steroids. So the infield again is in. And this time I can't hold. So any basically kind of rule, we're going to see what happens before we start. So we're going to get a 45 out of this. This is going to be versus a lefty. It's going to be a pitcher matchup. No, it's going to be a ball hit to the right fielder. Oh, boy. Ball hit to the right fielder, and the right fielder this is the bases loaded, top of the 11th. Right fielder is Granderson. Granderson's in right field, and he's going to be a 3. We're going to give him a 3 in right field. His arm rating is going to be a +2, which is not really good. So he's going to be a 3 to the outfield versus a righty is going to be a 16 minus 3. -3 is a 13. We rolled an 8, so it's going to be off Cano to the outfield. And we have an 8, and an 8 is going to be a 20 plus a 9 is a 29, and that's going to be a double, and this may clear the bases. The 29 is a drive, and that is going to split the outfield, one hop off the wall. 1 run scores. That is Nimmo. Right behind him is Rosario, and Alonso. We're going to hold him up at third base. So second and third now. And so Cano doubles, picks up 2 RBIs, drives in 9, and still nobody out. Drives in 9 and 1. And here is J.D. Davis. Let me show you how I do that on my scorecard. I always think that's fun, seeing how other guys score. What I do is when I go into extra innings, I start using the whole column. I don't go column, I don't leave spaces in between the columns. I use the whole column till I get to the next column. So I'm in the 10th column, but it's the 11th inning. And basically I had the bases loaded. That's how I like these. This is the Digi Dugout. Digi Dugout scorecards that come already pre-filled. And I like these because they have a little very kind of shadowed diamond there. So that's what I've done. So this was the first batter as a pinch hitter Nimmo, followed by a single by Rosario. Then it was an error on the pitcher. And then it was a bases loaded double by Cano at second and third. The Mets are now up 5-3, so I'm happy. And it's J.D. Davis. So we're going to walk J.D. Davis intentionally to load the bases. And we're going to leave. We're going to play the corners in and the middle back, looking for a double play. Just want to get out of this inning. There's nobody out. So instead of giving up a lot of runs, so maybe I give up one more run, but I get out of the inning. So Guerrero, we got some action in the bullpen. It's Chen is out there. Let's see what happens here. So we're looking at the matchup versus a righty, and it's going to be a 66, and that's going to be off the pitcher. So versus a righty, is it a breaking ball or a fastball? It's +1. +1, and we rolled a 10 and a +1 on the chart. See, there's a chart here. Let me show you that chart. +1, 2 to 6, and an 11, but we rolled a 10, so it's going to be a breaking ball. If it's not a fastball, it's a breaking ball. It's not that complicated. It's not J.D. Davis. It's Michael Conforto. So it would be versus a lefty. So a 66 is still versus a pitcher, right? Still versus the pitcher. So what did we say? It was a breaking ball. It was, well, now it's going to be +2. It was +1. Let's see if that changes things. No, 2 to 7 and 12. We rolled a 10. So it's going to be a breaking ball versus a left-handed batter. It's a 4. It is versus a pitcher, 13 minus 4. Oh, he's a righty pitcher. So that's, you got to be careful with all that. All right, he's a righty pitcher, so a 17 minus 4 is a 13. And we have an 8, so it's going to be off Conforto. And it's a 10, and off Conforto, it's going to be a 79. And a 79, I'll show you the chart that tells us what it is. A 79 is a deep fly ball. Runner on first may attempt. Second and third advance on base. So he's the first. Davis at first is going to hold. That's going to be a sacrifice fly. RBI number 2 there. Scores. So he picks up an RBI. And now it's going to be Wilson Ramos. All right, so this matchup is against a righty, and it's going to be 45, and that's going to be a center field. Ball hit to center field, and again, that's JT Riddle. JT Riddle, I believe we said he was a 3, and to the outfield is a 14 minus 3 is an 11. We rolled a 2, so it's going to be off of Ramos, and we've got a 3, and that's going to be a 90, a 98, because you add the when it finishes in a 0, like a 20, a 10, you add the position that it was hit to. So it was hit to center field, and that's an 8. Left field is a 7, and of course, right field is a 9. So it's a 98. And all right, again, I went blanks here. So we got a result of a 98, right? That's what we were looking for. Let's do it again. Ramos won the matchup, and it was a 3. It's going to be a 98. So we're going to look at the results chart. And it's a deep fly ball. And that will, well, this runner advanced on that. So let's see what it says. 98. A medium fly ball, runner on third may attempt to advance. Others will hold. Who's on third base? Robbie Cano. Oh no, he's gonna on a medium fly ball, he's gonna hold. That is out. Number 2. We already scored 3 runs, so we're up 6-3 here in the 11th. Runner on first and third, and up comes Jeff McNeil. All right, we're going to let Guerrero get us through this inning. He's allowed to face 5 batters. He's faced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If he gives up one more hit, then I will immediately pull him. But I've used a lot of pitchers already. All right, it's a 28. The matchup versus a lefty is a 28. So that's going to be a ball hit to the shortstop. The shortstop is Rojas, and Rojas is looking at the wrong place. Rojas is a 6, and infield versus a lefty is 18. 18 minus 6 is a 12. We roll a 3, so it is going to be off McNeil. And it's a 6 off McNeil's card. Remember, he's a good hitter, and that's going to be a base hit. That is going to be a base hit that will score 1 run, and stopping at second will be J.D. Davis. So an RBI for McNeil, and that's going to be it for Guerrero. Had a tough time. There are 2 outs. We're going to bring in Chen now. So Chen is in. Probably my last pitcher that I know of, unless I go through the whole thing. So he went 0.2 there. So Chen is in, new pitcher to face Juan Lagares. This is the 9th batter of the inning in the top of the 11th inning, showing you how to play 4th Street baseball. Hey there, Phil Leota. Yeah, man, I'm sorry. But you know what, Phil? It's the same 7 things every time. And I'm new to this game, all right? So sometimes I slow up and I double check things, so I don't want to guide anybody the wrong way. But it's got some meat on its bones, my friend. This is not just result, okay? I play those games and I highly enjoy them. I'm an APBA guy, all right? There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes you just want I just want something a little bit meatier, something I can bite into, and that's why I tried this. And you got to play it continually, and then you're going to get really fast. And even though it seems like a lot of things are going on, it's really pretty straightforward. Let me slow down a bit. There's 2 outs here at the top of the 11th inning. The Mets have scored 3 runs, so they're up 6-3. Diaz is warming up for the Mets in the dugout, in the bullpen, So he will be coming in the bottom of the 11th, try to get the last 3 outs. Who knows with him? Juan Lagares is up. So the first thing we got to check, we got a new pitcher, and this is very important. He's a lefty. So we're going to be looking at the left side of Lagares, and I do making little notes for myself. And but the matchup is going to be on the right side because Lagares is a righty batter. So we always look. The first thing you see is where the ball is going to. It's very simple. Okay, guy's batting, pitcher's pitching. Let's see where the ball goes. All right, it's a 75. The ball here versus a righty is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a matchup, a pitcher-batter matchup. Okay, pitcher-batter matchup versus a righty pitcher. So first we got to see versus a lefty pitcher. He's a pitcher-batter matchup of a 12, or a pitcher matchup of a 12. So we're going to start off with the 12, right? Versus a righty, we rolled a 10, and a 0 is basically going to be it doesn't matter because they're both even. It's 4-4, fastball, breaking ball, because we got to see which comp to use, fastball, breaking ball. Okay, so he's basically throwing him, doesn't matter. So it's a 4. We said versus a left-handed pitcher is a 12. 12 minus 4 is an 8. But we rolled a 1. So that means the batter wins the matchup. So we're going to read the result. Now we get to the result. That's it. And we already rolled. We have a result of 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. So we go to 10 versus a left-handed pitcher, and it's a 66, which is a hard hit ball right at the shortstop. And that is Rojas, sure-handed, fires the first, and then retires the side. Just like that, okay? So it seems like there's a lot of things going on. Not really. It's just it's, okay, here's the pitch. Who's the ball hit to? May not be hit to anybody. It may end up being a walk or a strikeout. So that's where what we just had was a pitcher matchup, right? A 75 was a pitcher matchup versus a righty batter. So Now we go to the bottom of the 11th inning. It's going to be Granderson, Riddle, and Rojas against Diaz. So let's see what happens here. Let's see if we can get out of this with a win. All right, we have Curtis Granderson coming up. He's a lefty, so we're going to look on the left side. Let's look at the matchup, see what the matchup tells us. We read the 2D10. It's a 94. That is going to be versus the – it's still versus the pitcher. So it's going to be a pitcher-batter matchup, okay, versus a lefty. So we're going to look over here. Is it a fastball? He throws a lot of fastballs. So it's actually +4. So that's going to be all the way to 8, but we rolled a 9. So that's going to be a breaking ball. He actually throws a breaking ball. +4, yep. He throws a breaking ball. His breaking ball is not that good. So it's a 5 versus a right-handed pitcher. 14 minus 5 is a 9. We rolled a 15. So it is going to probably be a strikeout because I imagine that Edwin Diaz has a lot of strikeouts, but we don't know. It could be a walk. He also walks a bunch of guys. That 9, I'm going to use the same 9. It is a strikeout. So Granderson swings and misses at a Edwin Diaz 98-mile-an-hour slider. And here comes JT Riddle. JT Riddle is another lefty, bats lefty. Look at that there. So we're going to look on the left side of the matchup, see who the ball's hit to. All right, and that's a 64 versus a lefty. That's going to be a pitcher-batter matchup again. So is it a fastball? This one's going to be an 8. I know it's 2 to 8 when it's a +4, so it's going to be a fastball. So that's 9. So versus a right-handed pitcher, 60 minus 9 is a 7, but it's a 1, so it's going to be off of Riddle. It's going to be off of Riddle, and we rolled an 8, and that is going to be a strikeout. JT Riddle batted 189, by the way. Back-to-back Ks for Edwin Diaz. Extremely realistic, by the way. He does strike out or give up home runs in 2019. Sometimes walks as well. He gave up 22 walks in 58 innings. Gave up 15 home runs. So basically a home run every I don't know, every whatever it is. I got to look it up. Can't figure it out off the top of my head. But anyway, all right. So Miguel Rojas. Let's see the matchup. This time we're looking versus a righty. And that is going to be a 59. This is going to be another pitcher-batter matchup. Falls into the pitcher-batter matchup. And versus a righty, it's going to be a +3 this time. We rolled a 6. Oh, that's going to be a fastball. Throws him a fastball, 17 minus 8, because his fastball number is 8. 17 minus 8 is a 9. And we roll a 6. So it is going to be off Miggy Rojas. And Miggy Rojas is 6. And that is going to be a 54, which I know it's a ground ball. It's a slow ground ball. Second base, Cano picks it up, throws the first in time. Ball game over. Mets win it in 11. They scored. They scored 4 runs, so it was 7-4. Scored 4 runs in the top of the 11th inning on 4 hits, and they win it by a score of 7-3 in 11. No runs, no hits. The win goes to Avilan. The save goes to Diaz. Oh, actually, Diaz doesn't get a save there because it was 4 runs. So the win goes to Avilan, but Diaz does show up. And that's a good thing. And the Mets win it. Now let's look at the hits for the game just to get us. Let me pull this over. Let's get. Let me show you the scorecard so you can get a feel for what the game looks like. There was a bunch of errors in this game. There was actually 3 errors committed by the Marlins, 2 by pitchers, 1 by the shortstop. The Mets committed 1 by the third baseman, J.D. Davis. He actually committed 2 errors today. J.D. Davis, not a very good shortstop, a third baseman. Let's see the hits for the Mets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That was 11 hits for the Mets. 7 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors. And for the Marlins, wow. The Mets got 15 batters in a row, except for not counting the error. Pretty impressive. 5 innings in a row, they actually got everybody out. So Mets pitching, the relief staff really did the job. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 hits. So 7 hits, 7 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors for the Mets. And for the Marlins, it was 3 runs, 7 hits, and 3 errors. And that's the ball game. Mets win another practice game, right? And I'm going to play. I already printed out the scorecard for the game 3 of this set. And did I print it out? Yeah, I did print it out. Let me see. Yep, this is actually, let me see what I got here. Yep, this is game 3, April 2nd. It's going to be Jason Vargas versus Jose Urena. So that's going to be fun. So that was the first game of a 3-game set. The Mets win it in 11. This is Cards and Dice. Tony Porter. I hope you took a look at this and get a feel for it. And I hope I helped to do that. I will see you guys later.